error. That said, one of the drivers that made a mistake and damaged his car and misses out on potentially a good result is Sunny Wong. But Rob Huff goes into this as the fastest, 2 minutes 34.862 the time. But ignore now a Q1 time. It's the times that you set in this session that are going to determine the grid. So David Zhu, their fourth going into Q2, is potentially a driver that could take over the front of the grid. The car being retrieved is that of Liao Yang, the Audi that ground to a halt coming out of the Macau hairpin down towards Fisherman's. Number 71 is set to go. The Volkswagen of Zhang Tong Ye, and David Zhu is good to go. We are in business at 12:20, so we're not that far away, but the drivers are good to go, and the interval should have been 10 minutes, but with a bit of clear-up work to be done, I think it's just crept up a little bit longer than that. So Rob Huff, I suppose Alan Hyde, starts as the favourite here, partly because of his experience and partly because of how strong he was looking in the final few minutes of Q1.
It was looking great, wasn't it? And if free practice offers you the opportunity of assessing the car and dialing out problems, I'm going to assume, if Rob sends us a message, an update after this qualifying session, that the problems that were discovered during free practice yesterday, namely there was a problem with power steering, I think that's been cured.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And the commitment level was there, and there's going to be more of the same when we get into this second session.
The commitment level from Huffy is always there around this circuit. He's a joy to watch around the Kia circuit. He really loves it.
So all the teams ready to send the cars out as quickly as they can on instruction as soon as that green light comes in the pit lane. So we can't be too far away now, waiting for a green light and a green flag. The teamwork, Lincoln Co's ready to go. Other cars that have missed out under Parc Fermé conditions, you can see there the little sign under the wiper. That's to say that the cars cannot be worked on, can't be touched, because Parc Fermé conditions now apply, and the scrutineers need access to them.
So that's the little delay that we've got here. We've still got that. That's impressive driving in the recovery vehicle, reversing up.
It's a bit disconcerting for the cars on the neighbouring road to see
a
reversing lorry, even though it's on the racetrack, but it's a bit strange to have that heading towards you.
With the racetrack, race car on the back of it, yeah.
Now, what are we expecting here? Is it going to be a start-up lap and 2 flying laps, or can they get 3 out of it?
I think, well, I'm just going to be sensible and say a start-up lap and 1 lap.
Okay.
I reckon. I think they've got to make it count, and they've got to make it count straight away.
Yeah.
They've seen what happened in the first part of qualifying, and there is no guarantee that they're going to get more than 1 lap. If there's a stoppage, then the time is going to eat away quickly. So this first flying lap, after they've got the cars up to temperature, I think is the one that may well count. Is that being pessimistic?
No, I think you're right. One negative is that the start time has slipped a little bit more, just to get that lorry off the road.
Yeah, just to reverse that lorry. It's taken a little while longer than perhaps expected to recover that car. Make a great sight, don't they? The TCR cars down in pit lane.
I do like the MGs. I know the livery is a spectacular one, but it's a good shape.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And the way that the regulations work for the body shape, the Audi is a good car as well in terms of the shape. Right, green light is about to go, and they're at pit out. The light's still on red, but that's about to blink to green to let the cars hit the road for 10 minutes of Q2. And it's a mad scramble. Look down the pit lane, everybody trying to win track position.
It's a good entry, this, isn't it, this year for the Macau Touring Car Cup, the MGM Macau Touring Car Cup. MGM, one of the real landmarks of the Macau area. Huge hotel, incredibly impressive. Much more than just a hotel, isn't it, the MGM? And offering their title sponsorship to the Macau Touring Car Cup this year. And 12 cars. Well, with 12 cars, I would hope that they're not going to argue about coming up against traffic. There is plenty of track for all of them.
There is, but also they need to buy themselves some space, and nobody. Well, the MGs are sort of doing it. Again, Rob Huff knows what he's up to.
He does.
So he's the one leading the MG charge, but also at a pace at the moment, letting everybody else get away. I think actually having crept out ahead of him is Tai Hong Wei, but there goes Rob Huff up the hill and trying to make sure that when he does push, he's not going to encounter a wave of cars. I'm surprised that they went, given that there's only 12,
yeah.
I'm surprised they all went out in a line rather than the team staggering the cars so that there would be a gap between them.
Yeah, you're right. It's now a difficult question. They need to back off slightly, but they still want to keep up pace to get heat into the tyres. So is it maybe going to be 2 warming up laps?
Drama at Lisboa and clanging the wall, number 65 Audi of Lin Changhua, the QMA Motorsports car. I think what you might find, Alan, is what we've had before. Think back to the GTs. They'll push for the first 3/4 of the lap,
yes.
And then when you get to the Malco hairpin, where you've got to slow down anyway, that's when they might start to let the gaps open up.
Set themselves up for the quick lap next, and in doing so, buying track time as well.
What will be interesting is whether they can drop below the Q1 time, because they had so little opportunity in that to get into a rhythm. But as we've made the point, they got 8.5 minutes at the end, which is comparable to all they're going to get here.
And just need to remind myself of the lap time for Rob Huff.
2:34.862.
2:34.
So here you go, the gaps start to open up a little bit, and you can see elected to drop to the back of the pack, the fancy Lincoln Co. joining the teamwork entries. So up towards Fisherman, and then our bend they will come, and then we'll start to assemble a grid as the first flying lap will be completed this time around, next time around. Tai Hong Wei there up towards the line. Still weaving, still trying to get the Michelins up to temperature.
Yeah, it just invites you to have a last weave, doesn't it?
Yes,
because the track is so wide there, and it's the conclusion of the lap, and up towards the line you can begin to light things up now.
So David Zhu goes through, then it is Tai Hong Wei, then Jason Zhang, or Zhang Zhizhuang, as you look there at the MG. So that is Tai Hong Wei out of Reservoir down towards Mandarin. Here comes 3/4 of the MG fleet, headed by Rob Huff. Behind him is number 20, the reigning TCR China champion, which is Rodolfo Avila, the Macanese driver. And Rob Huff starts to push. 6 minutes already, that's all they've got left.
He's been the MG Pied Piper this weekend, hasn't he? Rob always leading the MGs around and able to stretch the legs of the MG. He's going to be pushing on this lap. Finished Q1, top of the times. That's the aim for Q2 as well, to take pole position for the race tomorrow. Race tomorrow and a race on Sunday as well. Up San Francisco Hill goes the former World Touring Car Champion. Don't forget, it was clinched here at Macau, that title for Rob Huff. The delight for Rob and the celebrations for the family and for the team as well will certainly remain in my mind for a very long time. Super.
So heads down the hill through the S's, and just half the session remaining, 5 minutes. So it really is short, sharp, focus the mind session. Absolute best in sector 2. So therefore quicker than Zhu and Tao ahead of him on the road.
And it's really this part of the circuit, the technical bit of the circuit, that Rob excels. He is quite superb, inch perfect, centimetre perfect. Out of police, up towards Moorish, and Rob Huff always gives us a quite superb demonstration of how to drive a touring car around the Gears circuit at Macau. I think previously the touring car great at Macau was known to be Andy Prix, wasn't it? He claimed so many world titles here at Macau at the end of a World Touring Car Championship year, and Rob kind of took on that mantle and bettered it.
So 2 purples, and he will get another lap out of this, maybe even 2 if the tyres are up to it. But ahead of him, it is David Zhu, who has done the target time of 2 minutes 36.143. Tao Hong Wei 2:37.5. And now we'll start to see what Rob Huff can do. We know he can do a 2:34, but it might be that the tyres aren't yet at that level for him. Comes out of the R bend up towards the timing line. It's going to be good. It's going to be a 2:33 or something like that, because as he breaks the beam, 2:33.7 puts him top, so he goes even better than in Q1.
He certainly does. It's a joy to watch, isn't it? Rob Huff, he is able to just switch it on around the gear circuit at Macau, and that was exactly what he did. A 2:33.774, top of the times for Rob Huff, car number 79.
But he's only there by a 10th, because Jiantang Yi, second in the Volkswagen, 0.115 of a second back, which is a mighty effort in a car that we've rather overlooked this weekend. There is number 20, Rodolfo Avila, who is only 6th, and behind him is Zhang Zhendong, who is 5th. So the other 2 MGs good, but not as good as the team leader, Rob Huff.
And they're on this twisty section once again. So 1 MG solitary at the front, and then the gap before we have the pair of MGs working together, working their way up through Teddy Yip onto the Solitude S's, and with Rob Huff, we've now got the 71 car, and that's Jiangchen Yi in the VW on the left-hand side of your picture.
Having just gone second fastest, just mentioned how well he's going, and then the car ends up stranded. And is that because he's hit the barrier, or is it mechanical? You see there the Hyundai hard on the brakes as Zhang Xiaowei arrives in Lisboa. That looks like it's mechanical, doesn't it?
It does, a bit. There is still a wing mirror on the right-hand side, which would be the telltale it has not planted the barrier on the right.
So Rodolfo Avila presses on, not matching a Huff pace, but improving his own lap time, certainly in the second sector. Chase there, looked by the sister car of Zhang Zhendong.
Number 18, Zhang Zhendong through the Melco hairpin. Open up the power, down the hill, down through Black Sands onto Fisherman's and R bend, the final turn on the gear circuit here at Macau.
Right, so David Zhu does a 2:34.7 to go 3rd. Yan Trang 2:35.8, and Rob Huff heading towards the timing line again, and a 2:33.774 last time, 2:33.3 this time. Rob Huff goes quicker still, half a second to the good now. But with Zhang Tenyi not being able to take further part in the session, is that going to dump him down? That's second in the times for the moment.
And we've got less than 1 minute remaining on the clock. It was quite incredible how quickly 10 minutes goes. 2 fastest laps, 2 flying laps achieved by Rob Huff during this 10-minute Q2 session. And tops the times in car number 79, half a second. Impressive that, but I think heading into this weekend, I think we rather said, I think you said at the start of qualifying, in fact, we expected Rob to be the benchmark, didn't we? Yesterday didn't give us too much insight into what to expect today. A couple of little gremlins that they had to deal with, bit of housekeeping for the cars to set them up for the weekend, bedding in brakes, that kind of thing. And it's all paying off now. Q2, pole position provisionally, held by the gear circuit Macau expert Rob Huff, 2:33.307. Looking at the number 9 car of David Zhu,
who's got to find nearly a second and a half to get ahead of Rob Huff, and he's not going to be able to do that. And he's backed the pace right off, hasn't he? So checkered flag is out, but relatively few pushing on this final lap.
Impressive that. 2 overall best laps consecutively for Rob Huff. And ultimately the provisional pole time a 2:33.307 will bring Q2 to a conclusion. In doing so, brings the MGA Macau Touring Car Cup China Touring Car Championship qualifying to its conclusion.
Fair play to David Zhu, because he's ahead of the reigning TCR Asia champion and double and indeed back-to-back gear race winner, Zhang Zhizhang. So that's a good effort to be the best of the Teamwork Link and co-drivers, I reckon.
Yeah, he went well yesterday. I think was third in the second free practice session, so gave us a kind of a glimpse into what we could expect today. But you're quite right, David Zhu going very, very well in the Link & Co today. Third quickest with a 2:34.788. Rob Huff, car number 79, provisional pole.
And that last lap for Rob Huff, slower, but he's taken pole by half a second.
But I don't know why. It's interesting, this. Why was he just weaving the car right at the end of the lap? There'll be a reason. He won't have done that for nothing. He was weaving the car from side to side, and it was a slow lap. It was the checkered flag lap, but he was still weaving the car.
Yeah, unless he thought that there might be time for one more lap.
I'm
surprised that the team didn't call him in, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, me too.
It has been a good session for Rob Huff, no question about it. From Zhang Tangyi there, stranded by the side of the circuit, but still second fastest. So the time stood and nobody got near it, even though that car couldn't take part in the final half of Q2. And then David Zhu, former FIA Formula 2 racer, if you think back to when Formula 2, not in its current guise, but was a MSV run single make championship. He drove in that for a time, and he is third fastest and the best of the Teamwork Link & Co's. But to have the best of those cars only third is perhaps a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it's one thing to qualify, it's another thing to race, and we go racing tomorrow for the MGM Macau Touring Car Cup at 11:45 tomorrow. It's a 9-lap race tomorrow and a 9-lap race on Saturday as well.
Yeah, equal lengths, aren't they, the two touring car parts of the weekend, whether it's for the MGM Macau Touring Car Cup or the gear race. But Rob Huff going quicker in Q2 than he did in Q1, securing pole position. And this is a round of the China Touring Car Championship. The gear race is a round of TCR Asia. It's the TCR Asia Challenge as well. But inevitably, you tend to think of these as races on their own as much as part of the championship.
You do. It's a unique weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it has always really been the way, other than the fact when World Touring Car Championship was decided at Macau, you've got the huge prestige of winning the gear race at Macau, and also potentially for somebody claiming the title by doing well in that race. So it's always when you're on the Macau Grand Prix weekend, it kind of feels like a unique event. And
exactly.
Standing on the podium at Macau, irrespective of what you're doing in the championship, is enough, I think, for the achievements.
It's a bit like Le Mans, isn't it? You know, it's a round of the World Endurance Championship, but it's a race in itself.
It is, yeah.
So the cars trickle their way back down to the pit lane. Rob Huff celebrating pole position, but that's only the start of the story, really, because he's got 2 races yet. Tomorrow's race determines the grid for the feature race, the main race on Sunday. Behind him sits number 18 of Zhang Zhundong, and he ends 8th out of the 12 that took part in Q2.
So Rob leads the 18 MG. 79 is Rob's car, and the 18 car of Zhang Zhundong just behind. Confirmation of the result then after Q2 for the MGM Macau Touring Car Cup, and it's Rob Huff in car 79, the MG with the 2:33.307. 71 car of Zhang Tangyi in the VW, and that car with a 2:33.889. Tomorrow, and a 9-lap race on Sunday as well for the MGM Macau Touring Car Cup.